Sustainability is the buzzword of the moment, as the beauty industry has finally grasped that it's time to start addressing its global impacts. And as we all start to grapple with the complexities of sustainability when it comes to our beauty products, we're all having to become more conscious about our grooming habits. After all, none of us are perfect, and all of us approach buying the beauty products we use from a different set of circumstances and ethics. So I was really interested to learn about the Conscious Beauty Union, an education platform set up by 3 makeup artists who are driven to help beauty professionals make informed choices about the brands they work with. Stay tuned in this podcast episode to learn what conscious beauty is and how you can make considered choices about your beauty products. Welcome to Green Beauty Conversations, the podcast that challenges you to think about how you buy, use, make and sell your natural beauty formulations. We tackle topics that will make you think and encourage debate about green beauty with your friends, followers or customers. I'm your host, Lorraine Dallmeier. I'm a chartered environmentalist, biologist and the CEO of award-winning online organic cosmetic formulation school, Formula Botanica. We have thousands of students in over 170 countries around the world who study with us to become organic beauty formulators and entrepreneurs. Visit our website at formulabotanica.com to try our free online formulation course. So in this podcast episode, we're talking conscious beauty, beauty that addresses ethics, health, well-being, and holistic sustainability. And we're going to hear all about the work of the Conscious Beauty Union, who are on a mission to elevate this topic for all of us. So I'm joined today by 3 of the founding members of the Conscious Beauty Union, Khandiz, Tahira, and Lou. The Conscious Beauty Union, or CBU as they refer to themselves, is an informal education platform helping beauty professionals to develop a sustainable practice. I'm thrilled to welcome the 3 of you onto the podcast today to discuss the topic of conscious beauty and what it means for all of us. So welcome to the podcast, CBU team.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.
So let's dive straight in. What is conscious beauty?
I guess for me, conscious beauty is knowing the full story of a product before you buy it or before you use it. So it's kind of knowing why you're using it, where it's come from, who's made it, what have they used to make it, how have they been treated, how's it got here. So it's encompassing and just understanding what it is you're using, I guess, and who is it impacted, how is it impacting you, has it impacted the people who have grown it, who have produced it. So it's just diving a little bit deeper into what you're using.
And if I may add to that, also really just making an informed decision, acknowledging that not everything can be absolutely perfect, but making a conscious, considered choice as to a product over another based on your personal set of circumstances or ethics.
And then I'll add to that is that we're seeing the term conscious beauty come up more and more. So in reference to sort of brands as a whole, as opposed to an individual product, I think it just moves away from just looking at a single aspect of a brand. So for example, only looking at its ingredients or only looking at its packaging. It's really taking a more holistic or global view of a brand in particular or several brands and looking across their production chain from concept to store to shelf, what and how that product was made, as the other girls have said.
Okay, so that sets the scene for us then. And then one other question I wanted to ask before we delve into what the CBU stands for is, how is conscious beauty different then to sustainable beauty?
I would have to say, touching back to what I said a little bit earlier, was that it's making an informed choice. Sustainable beauty, I certainly feel, is how something is manufactured, whereas conscious beauty is more how we use a product, how we engage with the product. Because I think sustainability as a term has been hijacked a little bit, and it's become a catch-all where you might just, as Tahira said a moment ago, you might just be talking about ingredients or you might be talking about ethics, but then it's not sustainable. It's having a narrative. So certainly from my point of view, conscious beauty is an informed action.
And also, I think conscious beauty will mean different things to different people. Like what Khandiz was saying, you have your own ethos. So conscious beauty to one person will mean something different to another. So if you're a vegan, for example, that's going to be your thing that you go for. So it's, I guess, conscious is a little bit more personal as well. Is that the right thing to say? Like it will differ.
But I think also we can sort of say that conscious beauty and sustainable beauty are really different, and sustainability will be one aspect or can be one aspect of conscious beauty, but it can't be the only one. So that we're looking at having several different, maybe criteria is not the word I'm looking for, but maybe categories of examination, looking at different categories of examination when looking at a brand. So sustainability may be one thing, but again, as Khandiz is saying, if it is the only thing that one's looking at, then we're dropping off on other important points that may be falling short.
Okay, so now we've set the scene. Can you tell me a little bit more about the Conscious Beauty Union, what you stand for and what the big vision is?
So Conscious Beauty Union, having been started originally by 5 makeup artists, professional makeup artists who had been working with an eco-conscious kit for 5 years minimum when we originally first set up in 2018, is a space for us to share our practical knowledge of product and its efficacy and its provenance with other artists who are wanting to develop a greener, more mindful practice. And I think the difference between CBU is what we really do, and this again speaks to our mission, is not to use the term a sustainable makeup artist or sustainable session stylist, but really look at sustainability as a direction of travel. So we are speaking about developing a plan, looking around what resources we have. If you do not have the right recycling bins or the right disposability options, what are the most informed decisions for you? So it's really about developing a sustainable practice.
Awesome. So that's the big vision here. You're working predominantly with beauty professionals, but you're trying to put these principles of conscious beauty out there into the world. So how would you like to see the mainstream beauty industry change to embrace these conscious beauty principles that you're standing for?
I think there's definitely one aspect, which would be that it just becomes the standard. That, in a perfect world, every brand in every industry really considers everything they do at every stage of the process to have a humane, ethical, sustainable business. That's the dream utopian vision. So I think to say that the big picture about conscious beauty into the mainstream would be that at least some aspects or some questions become normal things and normal questions that brands ask themselves, normal parts of their day-to-day operations that they look at, and not simply be paying lip service to a marketing tactic to sell more, that really examining their processes and practices as a part of, the cliche of making the world a better place, rather than just simply looking at the bottom line for profit, which of course, to be a sustainable business, you need to make a profit, but at what cost? So I think that the big vision, the big hope would be that every single brand, from the smallest to the biggest, really start taking in and taking on board at least some of these questions and some of these aspects to change.
And I think it's about being transparent. So the brands need to be transparent in what they're doing, and we're not asking them to be perfect. Conscious beauty isn't about being perfect or having, no one can be perfect, but we can certainly be honest. And if brands are honest in what they're doing and communicating that with their consumers, then their consumers can make conscious decisions in what they're buying.
And reporting, I think that's a big thing. It leads back onto loose transparency, but certainly for me and my work outside of CBU, I want to see brands actually reporting on their impact.
So you talk about the questions that you want beauty professionals and brands to ask themselves. Can you give me an example of the sorts of questions that you feel these organizations should be asking themselves in order to embrace this concept of conscious beauty?
Do I need this right now? Look, I suffer from this too. Ooh, new red lipstick. Oh my God, it's so beautiful. Do I need it? Do I need it right now? Do we need to create, as a brand, do we need to create another red lipstick in this line of red lipsticks, or pink lip glosses in this line of pink lip glosses? Or should we be creating a more diverse shade range? These are the kinds of questions. Or we get this ingredient from this place. Is there a way to support that community? Is this the best way to get this ingredient? Is this the best ingredient on a larger plane of sustainability? for that area, for that country, for my brand. Like every single level has lots of questions. So for the individuals, they're going to be slightly different than for a brand, for example. But the sort of bigger picture questions like, do I really need this? Do I need to buy this now? Can I wait? Shall I use this up first? Are sort of a bit universal questions.
So moving on from that, how can we educate all of us, not just beauty professionals, but also shoppers, to make changes in our beauty buying habits without people feeling like they're being lectured or being made to feel guilty? Because I think this is one of the biggest challenges for sustainability and also sort of conscious beauty education then in general, as people don't want to feel guilty for their past choices. I read a study last year from a group of researchers at Warwick Business School who found that people who are made to feel proud of the steps they've already taken are more likely to commit to making more sustainable and better choices in the future. So how do we get everyone on board whilst not feeling like we're hitting them with a big stick in the process?
I was going to say, I think that it's really about celebrating small wins. As Lou said earlier about honesty and transparency, is accepting that we can only do as much as we can do with the information we have at the time. We can't sit and hold back. But once you know and you don't make a change, that's when you are complicit. It's making small changes, it's celebrating those changes. And I think from brand, there is opportunity for incentivization for behavioral change with consumers. You know, using the community, using the communication with, and engagement with the audience to help them recycle, or actually beyond recycling, return their products to the system, talk about that and make it fun.
And I think it's about just being positive. Like, I think we're seeing so many negativity about you shouldn't do this, you shouldn't do that. But actually, if we kind of celebrate the products that actually are doing amazing things, rather than saying don't use this because it does, I don't know, it does this to you or whatever. But this product is amazing. And by the way, it's, you know, it's using sustainable ingredients. It's done, you know, celebrate the positivity that the products are doing and make people want to use those products rather than scaring them to not use other products, I think.
Yeah, I totally understand it. So have you got any examples of beauty professionals out there who are already following these principles? Maybe the three of you. I see hands going up. You obviously can't see it on the podcast, but can you give me an example of what's happening out there already?
I think that there's a massive movement towards it. I mean, I can't say names off the top of my head, but I mean, we have a lovely engaged community. I think it started a little while ago with the sort of journey towards, like, everybody, not everybody, but I think it started a while ago with a bit of a movement or a journey towards cruelty free. And that sort of like was the gateway drug. That was like, it opened up the box and then people started looking at it. So we get a lot, in a way, sometimes in editorial and sort of photo shoot makeup and that kind of beauty makeup, it seems to be easier. And we see a few more artists in that space, working in that space. But I see from a film point of view, my background's in film and TV, I definitely see more and more professionals embracing what they can, because obviously that industry becomes very difficult. For example, if you're working with special effects or so on as a makeup artist. But maybe they've made different choices in their consumables, or maybe they're carpooling to work instead of all taking individual cars in a pre-COVID world. I say that. But, you know, there are ways that people are finding to maybe, if they cannot directly change perhaps a product that they're using, perhaps they're finding another way to think green, as it were, or think more ecologically and in a more holistic way. And I think that's a really positive step and a set of positive moves.
Yeah, I think there's definitely more and more artists like we're seeing, even like that's perhaps, you know, one of the reasons why we started CBU is because we were getting so many people kind of asking us questions. Can you recommend this? Can you recommend that? So the interest is just there, and it's getting more and more, like it's more and more artists are wanting to do it, and they're wanting to change their ways and to do their best. So there's a huge rise in it.
And that's really exciting to hear, because it means that the message is out there and people want to embrace this. So it sounds to me like the Conscious Beauty Union is here at the right time. So your three educational pillars, from what I read on your website, are sustainability, ethics, and well-being. And these are enormous topics for anyone to take on. So with so much misinformation floating around the internet and our modern tendency to condense very complex topics into simple sound bites, how can we be sure that we're truly making the right choice?
So our pillars of conscious beauty speak, as you've mentioned, to health and well-being, which generally for us focuses on ingredients and its impact on skin. So I think let's distinguish that versus our pillar of ethics, which will look at everything from inclusivity, and that can be from full skin color ranges to ability products designed for people with different abilities, to including a wide variety of genders and marketing as such. It will also include the ethics of sourcing from vegan or ethically sourced ingredients. And then our sustainability pillar doesn't just look at, while it's certainly centered around environment, it really does speak to the 4 pillars of sustainability and inclusivity, integrity, stewardship, and transparency. So when we are speaking about that, it's not just, it's an eco choice. Why is it an eco choice? How does it fit into the ecosystem of this entire conversation of sustainability? And I think by really defining those 3 pillars, it's not a case of this is good, this is bad. Here is the information to make an informed choice.
And then carrying on from that informed choice is not a right or wrong choice. It's what's right for you, because we cannot speak to every individual circumstance. And I think that is one thing that really sets us CBU apart, is we're not here to prescribe a solution. We're not here to say, here's a bunch of fish. We're going to give you a bunch of fishing rods, and we're going to give you some nets, and we're going to give you some bait, and then you go and figure it out for yourself, because we cannot tell you what works for you, because you might be in a location, as Khandiz mentioned before, that doesn't have great recycling facilities. I was just reading an article about, having products in glass in the US where many curbside recycling doesn't accept that type of glass. So then that becomes pointless. So if we give you a bunch of information in a form that's digestible to you, in a form that you can find it fun and accessible and is in the correct size chunks for you to absorb, then you can then make those informed decisions. And those decisions will change over time. So back to what we were saying before, it's not about judging what you did last week, because maybe last week you didn't know. Maybe last week you didn't have the purchasing power to make that, quote, superior decision. But you're going to go, right, I'm going to go with these ethics. I'm going to do this for now. And in a year or 2 or 3 years or 5 years from now, I'm going to do different, because I'll know more, I'll have more, I'll be able to do more. So it's a very journey, long term. This is long term. We're in it for a while now, folks. So this is not a quick and easy solution.
It's okay to make the wrong choice as well, because we've all made the wrong choice, and that's kind of how you learn, so don't kind of beat yourself up as well.
And if I can add one more thing to that point, I think what we can really do as CBU and must continue to focus on is, rather than, as Tahira said, prescribing what's right or wrong, is actually helping other people ask the right questions. Because as we've just seen, we look at glass, there is this perception that one thing is more environmentally sound than the other without knowing the full life cycle of what that product is. And I think brands are very quickly switching over to what consumers perceive as an eco alternative without actually looking at what the real impact is. So if we can help people ask the right questions, our hope is obviously that then we can make some real change.
So following on from that then, can you tell me more about the educational program that you're setting up, or that you have set up already at the Conscious Beauty Union, so that we understand more about what you're going to be providing for everyone out there?
So we have, to start, we've just launched our professional members site, and we have a number of different options. So we have our resource library, the CBU library, and that is articles that we've written that speak specifically to our audience. We also have a few how-tos which are open to the general public. Then we've also got other really interesting articles around the web that we put on there that people can access and find out more information about one of the 3 pillars we focus on. We have webinars where we'll have, and this is a monthly event, that speaks to a different theme each month. So every month we've got a theme. This month, it's Veganuary. There's a lot of talk around ethics. It's mentoring month. So our theme for January, and I appreciate this is going to be played out later down the line, but we are doing how to be a proactive beauty activist. And we're speaking to different activists and organizers from a cross-section of our industry. So it's not just beauty professionals that are sitting on the panel. We have a stylist, we have a model, we have different voices to engage with. And that's what we will do throughout our panels, is have a variety of voices to speak to a particular theme. And then we have bi-monthly masterclasses, which will either be presented by one of us from CBU, one of our advisors, or an outside source talking on a particular subject. And hopefully sometime this year, we will have a actual online course, not too dissimilar from Formula Botanica's, which I think we've all somehow had a little dabble in.
Well, that sounds very exciting, and I wish you all the best with CBU. So finally, let's finish off by asking where people can find out more about the Conscious Beauty Union and where they can follow you online.
So we're consciousbeautyunion.com, and we're on Instagram, Conscious Beauty Union, so you can follow us there.
Awesome. And we'll include all of those links below in the show notes as well. So thank you very much to the three of you for joining me today. Thank you for sharing your mission and your vision with the CBU. I can't wait to watch your story unfold. And yes, I hope everyone enjoyed this podcast. So thanks for being here.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having us.
Thanks for having us, Lorraine.
So I hope this podcast has inspired you to think more about the conscious choices you make. I'd be interested to hear what conscious beauty means to you. How can we elevate our global consciousness of sustainability further? How do we approach the choices we make from an informed yet positive position? The Formula Botanica team and I love hearing from you, so come and tell us your views, and please do come and leave us a comment. Thank you for joining the Conscious Beauty Union team and I for this latest episode of Green Beauty Conversations, where we looked at the topic of conscious beauty. I hope you enjoyed it. Make sure you subscribe to our podcast on iTunes or Spotify and stay tuned for the next episode. Follow Formula Botanica at Formula Botanica on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, Pinterest or LinkedIn. We are everywhere. Visit our website at formulabotanica.com and sign up for our free online formulation course today.